Okay, I hope that this message brings you some clarity. So, you were dealing with a situation where you were being gang mobbed and just bullied by a entire group of people. Okay, and this is not anything about a romantic sense. This is all like either like a platonic group of friends, or this could be, family or whatever, but this has nothing to do with a romantic relationship. This also could be like a group of coworkers for some as well, but this is the energy. Is that you were in this group where these people were just ganging up on you and bullying you at any chance that they could get. And there was an incident that happened where, like, of course, there was this one person that was, creating a whole smear campaign against you towards everyone else. So anytime you had any response or reaction, people are not believing you and thinking that you were the victim in this situation. They thought that you were the villain because the actual villain who was spreading the smear campaign was making a role reversal, making it seem like they basically accused you of doing everything that they did to you, but made it seem like you were doing it to them, and that's where they were so upset. And then whenever you had any type of reaction or response or wanted to distance yourself, then everyone wanted to look at you like you were the bad guy. And it was difficult because at the time, nobody was believing you, because the person who did the smear campaign had everybody fooled and had everybody convinced that you were this bad person. And there came an incident where you needed to remove yourself. And you essentially removed yourself. Really, God removed you. But by the time you had removed yourself, like, from that environment, from that community of people, from this group, and you placed yourself in another environment where they were not in the same proximity as you, it's like they went from being able to go over to the next room, go over to the next cubicle, or, go next door, or go over, like you guys were on the same campus and all they had to do was go over to your dorm or your apartment. Now it was at a point where you weren't even in the same spot as them anymore. You had completely put yourself in another environment. So the only access that they had to you was through the phone, through texting or through calling or through social media. That's the only way that they could get to you, because they no longer could get to you in person. And what happened is that when you ended up removing yourself, you didn't tell anybody that you removed yourself. You just left. And when you left, the person that did the smear campaign against you, they did not know that you had left. But when the person that did the smear campaign found out that you were gone and that you had left, then that's when they were upset. That's when they got pissed. And that's when their narcissistic rage came out. Let me explain where this rage was coming from. They used you as their supply. By having you around, they could unleash all of their negative energy onto you because they made you their scapegoat. They could unleash all of their pain and hurt and trauma, everything that they wanted to unleash onto you. And they wanted you to sit there and just be their punching bag, to be their emotional dumping ground, to be their emotional trash can, to be their doormat to walk all over, because by hurting you helped to regulate them. Hurting you helped to regulate them. So that was one thing. So by you not being there anymore, they were panicking because they're thinking, how else am I going to regulate if I don't have this person around? You see, this person, they spent so much time trying to hurt somebody else to regulate themselves that they did not learn how to regulate themselves. They got a little spoiled by you always being around, by you being there. They got spoiled by you having such a good heart and it, just bypassing what they did and ignoring it and not engaging as much. They got spoiled by being able to hurt you the way that they did. So when you were no longer there, they panicked. They didn't know what they were going to do because they're thinking, how else am I going to emotionally regulate myself when this person isn't here? Number 2, they've spread so many lies about you and so much smear campaign to explain why they were so angry and why they were so hurt and frustrated and upset all the time, because they're saying, this person is doing all of this to me and this is why I'm so upset. But that wasn't even the case. They were doing things to you and blamed you for it. So when you left, they no longer had you around to blame for their issues that they were going on in their life. And they were still dealing with issues in their life. They were dealing with issues that very day. And then when they found out that you had left and you were no longer there, they couldn't use you or blame you anymore, because how else could they blame you if you are not even physically there? So they got upset, they got angry, and they wanted to basically, it's like they basically felt that you discarded them before they could discard you. They were, as long as you were around, they were going to treat you any old kind of way. And then by the time they were done being in this environment, they were going to leave you alone and discard you, and then just have you left to deal with the aftermath of how much they just destroyed your fucking life. But because you discarded them before they could discard you, you beat them at their own game. You got away before they could finish you off, basically. So because you got away before they could finish you off, they got frustrated, they got mad, and they got all this rage. So what they did is they reached out to you, they contacted you, they tried to love bomb you, they tried to act all peaceful or whatever. But you were discerning, and you were able to peep game. You were able to pick up on what they were really doing. You knew for a fact that they were trying to get all up in your business. You knew for a fact that they had ulterior motives. You knew for a fact that it was more than they were letting on. So you were not about to engage in all of this. You knew exactly what they were doing intuitively, and you called them out on it. You called them out on why they were contacting you, because you're basically like, girl, bro, you don't care about me. You don't care about my well-being. You don't care about why I'm gone. You just want to figure out if I'm coming back or not, to see if you can still have your way with me. That's the only thing you're trying to figure out. Now, you didn't say that, verbatim, word for word, but that's essentially like the principle of what you were telling them. Like, you caught on to what they were doing. So when you caught on to what they were doing and they were exposed, then that's when they really went into full narcissistic rage against you. And they started saying a whole bunch of mean things to you. They were just verbally abusive. And you responded in a way that put them in their place. Like, you basically matched their energy, because they were saying a bunch of negative things to you. They were hitting low blows with you. So you're the type where you're like, you know what? I didn't suffer enough because of you. Enough is enough. I'm sick of you. I'm tired of you. I'm sick of dealing with this bullshit with you. I'm sick of you constantly doing this and me not saying nothing. And one thing you were sick of with yourself, you like, I'm sick of myself and not standing up for myself. So you finally just let that motherfucker have it. You let them have it. You stood up for yourself. You defended yourself. You spoke up. You basically matched their energy, and you gave them a taste of their own medicine. So they basically was playing with fire, and you fought fire with fire, because you realized at this point in time, I can't be peaceful with them, because they're not a peaceful person. So being peaceful is going to be deemed as a weakness. With this type of person, with a narcissistic person, you got to fight fire with fire. You got to burn them. That's the only way they're going to stop. So you basically fought fire with fire. You matched their energy. You put them in their place, and you hit low blows with them too. Like, they went low, you went to fucking hell. You said, oh baby, you think that's rage? Let me really show you rage. Let me really show you what I've been holding back. And let me show you how this entire time, baby, I have been sparing you. And when you finally let them have it, and you put them in their place, they didn't take it very well. So they went around to everyone else being the victim. They were crying. They had their feelings hurt. Like, what you said to them did hurt their feelings, because you spoke to the truth to them. And their feelings were hurt. They were crying. They were upset. They went around to everybody else and was trying to blame you. And everybody else did not see that you were the one, that all you were doing was defending yourself, and that you were the real victim here. And this person was really making an ass of themselves, being a villain to you, trying to destroy you when you had already walked away. It's like this person wasn't letting up. This person wasn't leaving you alone. This person was the villain the entire time, and you finally just defeated the villain, and they felt defeated in the situation, and they went around to make everybody else seem like you were the bad guy, when really, because of the smear campaign, everybody else thought that you were the villain when really you were the victim. So that's why they didn't believe you at the time and blamed you even more at the time. But now that you've been getting your truth out and you've been filling in the gaps and talking about what has really gone on, now everybody sees that you were the good guy and that everything that you had to do to this person was a mere reaction.